Hi everybody, Rad Mom here. Welcome back to the bedroom as it has gotten cold and windy here in Tennessee at long last. Tonight we have somebody new on the channel. We have Brett Cooper is here to tell us what feminists really think. Really quick though, please like the video if you enjoy my content. Subscribe to the channel so we can all work together to bring feminism back into the real world. Because I'm really tired of people like Brett Cooper being able to take pot shots at so-called feminism. It's embarrassing. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Clock.
The production quality on Brett's videos is amazing.
We are staying on theme with International Women's History Month. Is it Women's History Month? That's the month. But this specific video is about International Women's Day, which was last week, also in March. It's the month of females and fake biological men pretending to be females, apparently. Anyway, this guy walked around a rally in the Netherlands.
So this video is a few months old. I don't subscribe to her channel, funny enough. But she is responding to some interviews from a women's march in Amsterdam, because this video was picked out by her team
On International Women's Day and interviewed some of the attendees. I'm very excited to watch this. My team has pulled it for me. You guys know I love talking about feminism.
I'm just a normal dude. I'm gonna find out what's gonna happen and what's going on with this whole feminism thing, and what better place would there be?
What's going on with
entire
feminism?
planet than
Bro, I don't
Amsterdam
even
on
know.
Feminism. What are we doing here today? Me. I'm just a curious dude, like I said. Not really. I'm Renzo. Nice to meet you. Blixa.
They're so cautious now because they know that they get baited into these videos. The last one of these that I did was at a pro-choice rally in Nashville, and the same thing was happening to us.
These women are being cautious because he just like walked up to them and was very unprofessional. Okay, because that's not how you do that. You leave the cameras off and approach people beforehand and say, hey, we're filming such and such about so and so. Would you be interested in talking to the camera? That's how you do that. And then you turn it on and walk up and do that. What that guy did is called an ambush. And I'm so sorry that that's happened to you too. That's really unprofessional.
We were right-wing provocateurs or whatever they call it. They're like, where are you from? What's your YouTube? We're going to look you up. And then the event coordinators came up and were like, what's your YouTube channel? And we had like a very small team. And then at one
Look at her with the Daily Wire as her watermark, acting like she's unknown.
point, these girls ran up to me and they were like, oh my God, we know who you are. And they were actually fans of mine from TikTok. And I was like, why are you at this pro-choice rally? Either that's great because I'm reaching people on the other side of the political aisle, or you have no idea what I actually believe.
So which one was it, Brett?
All that being said, this is like a normal tactic because they don't want to say anything because they are aware that they say things and then they look stupid.
They don't want to talk to this guy because he just walked up and fucking ambushed them.
Basically, just a big why.
It's a feminist march, so it's everything.
Everything.
Yeah, you can stand there for, I don't know, feminism, stop vagina tax, like...
Sorry? Vagina attacks?
Vagina tax, you know? We have to pay for a tampon.
Vagina tax.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying vagina text.
Well, we have to pay for tampons and
Okay.
products. So
Okay.
stop that.
Fair enough. I get that.
Yeah.
It's a Women's Day march, so they're there for feminism in general. I'm pretty sure that's what that lady is trying to say, but like, this is Amsterdam. These people are not native English speakers. Vagina attacks? Rawr. What the fuck? Woman clearly is not the most fluent English speaker. But we're just gonna steamroll past that whole thing. The fact that this is, a foreign country in which the people don't necessarily fucking speak English.
So whatever you want to stand for, you can stand.
That's actually an excellent description of feminism. She said the quiet part out loud.
She's talking about a Women's Day rally. Is for feminism in general. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, for the first of several times here, Brett's not wrong, right? We've had this complaint many times here on this channel where, not everything is women's problem. This is a real issue, but, this is not how you get at it.
stands for anything and everything. Feminism is so confusing and destructive these days. It's not actually about uplifting women. If it was actually about uplifting women, we would be talking about the fact that men are dominating women's sports, that men are shattering the glass ceiling for women.
You know, it's funny. I do talk about men invading women's spaces on here on this channel all the time.
But talk about how hookup culture is actually detrimental for your mental health, how it benefits women in literally no way.
I don't know that I've touched on that, but I don't disagree.
We would talk about what it means to be a mother and why people are walking away from that. Like,
I literally made that video a couple of weeks ago, didn't I?
that would actually be feminist talking points. Those would be women issues.
Oh, Brett, you should subscribe to the channel. Because apparently I am a real feminist. Thank you. I didn't realize you were a radical feminist too. Does Ben Shapiro know that?
But with modern day feminism, it's all intersectional. Oh, feminism intersects with racial something and trans whatever, and ooh, feminism and environmentalism. It's like, can you not bring everything into it? You are allowed to have different issues that we discuss at different times. You literally can't even boil down what it means. Ask her what a woman is and see what she has an answer to.
An adult human female. Bam.
Okay, so you can literally think anything, say anything, and people will be like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
That would delete
That's
all value
not
from
good.
it, right?
If you say bricks are green because feminism, sure.
What does that
Doesn't
even
make
mean?
any sense, does it?
In other words, we're just here for feminism no matter what. You know, for all we fucking know, that's a saying in Dutch? Which language do they speak in Amsterdam? Do you fucking know, Brett?
All men must die?
All men must die.
Why you want
Her voice.
me dead?
All men must die. You a supervillain?
Yes! I think he did fight a supervillain. And I kind of love her.
You don't have any knives on you, right?
No, I'm not gonna kill them. I'm not gonna kill the men. They're going to abolish themselves.
You believe we live in a patriarchy?
I think so. You think you don't think so?
I think so. You're saying that all men must die, that you hate men so much that they're just going to abolish themselves, but you don't know if you live in a patriarchal society. I don't really know. What am I fighting against? I guess I could be fighting against anything. That's what the first girl said.
Yeah, this woman doesn't come off super well. It's almost as if they cherry-picked someone whose English wasn't really that strong.
I don't think so anymore.
Oh, what do you think you're living in then?
Matriarchy, that's like the women thing, right?
Oh, are you for real? That's why.
Women have more rights nowadays than men, maybe.
Okay, but that's why we still haven't had the president of the United States ever being a
Why
woman.
do you care about that? You are in Amsterdam and you're so upset because we haven't elected a female? You're pointing out something that has no relation to you whatsoever.
The conservative girl is sitting here saying that the United States isn't relevant internationally. I'm confused now. Meanwhile, completely glossing over the fact that this is a foreign country where they do not speak English.
It's just a random talking point because you're searching for rationality for your beliefs.
No, it's not a random talking point. It is a benchmark. Okay? It's a pretty well-known benchmark.
You have nothing else. Sorry that Hillary Clinton didn't win. She was a terrible candidate.
Were you even old enough to vote that year?
Does that impact you? Why are you putting all of your emphasis on America?
In the Netherlands, every other 8 days, a woman gets killed because of femicide.
You know what happens to men every now and then?
Tell me.
Not femicide. They don't get killed just because they're dudes, do they? I mean, maybe if you consider that the standard.
Men are told to be killed. I don't see any men around here telling people like women
This is
should
maybe
die.
the first time that openly they are being told to be killed, and I think that that time will come.
Imagine being friends with that person. Is she married? Probably not. Oh my god. Whoever she's married to, I'm so sorry, sir. She's probably a lesbian. She's definitely a lesbian. Or she's like in some like polygamous weird cult thing.
Like, I feel like that comment should have got left on the cutting room floor. We're just gonna speculate about, well, you know, people's sexualities in front of a microphone now? Come on. This is commentary?
What is feminism for you?
Feminism for me mostly is
Did not expect that.
That's no lady!
That's a man.
breaking free from specific gender norms that well, limits both men and women.
So feminism isn't just about women. That's the point that we're getting to. Feminism means nothing and everything at all. Feminism is not actually about empowering women or fighting for equality for women, because we already have that. If a woman is held back, it is due to her own choices. Sorry if that's a hot take, but that's real. We literally have the exact same opportunities.
Oh, honey. That's so sweet. You think you have the exact same opportunities as any man. No.
Exact same rights. But apparently it's not about that anymore, because that's all been said and done, and so now they have to find other things to create problems around.
No, what happened was a lot of aesthetic things were changed. A lot of surface level things were changed. A lot of really obvious in your face things were changed without actually addressing any of the underlying issues that created those things in the first fucking place.
You can't cry, or you have to always be at the gym. And for women, for example, you have to mostly work in like care industries, like being a nurse at certain hospitals.
Who says that?
People to be free to have their own choices. At the moment, that's
You have your own
very
choices.
difficult because, well,
Telling all men they can't cry. Have you seen men in 2023? Everybody's crying. Testosterone is at an all-time low. Everybody go to the gym. Have you seen the obesity rates across the world, especially in America? Here I am bringing America back into it after I was just criticizing that woman. But still, we're all fat and lazy. Testosterone is low. Everybody's crying. And you're saying that that's not happening?
This is super weird. This is aimed at young women? She sounds like an old man.
you're also, yeah,
You have no idea what you're saying.
the economic space are also
You have no idea why you're here.
You have no idea what he's saying? Why don't you shut up and let him talk?
Sometimes, like, women are still, for example,
You say we. So you identify as a woman?
not completely, but like,
So what do you identify as, if I may ask?
not really much at the moment. Mostly men, some bit of women, but I don't.
Western civilization is falling. Every day, a little more. Woo!
You're making money off of it.
He doesn't even know what he identifies as. I would have more respect, and I wouldn't have paused the video if he had just said, like, oh, non-binary. I'm used to that now. I don't really know. Not really much of anything right now.
I don't actually think that this idea that we all have the freedom.
That's an interesting little trio of people. They kind of look like they could be related to the guy hosting this. They have the same hair. The one who's speaking, I don't know if that's a boy or a girl.
You can clock the other one based on the voice instantly, but this one you're struggling with, we just went from tenor to baritone.
To do whatever we want or something actually really exists. I think there are real material factors which restrict that freedom. Like, for example, like working women like face heaps of violence against them, like both structural, systemic, and like in their relationships and stuff, and there's no proper societal support to fight against that violence because it's just not profitable.
What violence? Are we talking about sexual assault? Like, if we are, just say that, because that actually is a real issue. But if you throw that around and it's just all violence and there's all this systemic stuff, you're diminishing something that is very real and that women face every single day.
I think I sympathize with what she's saying here. Because, like, I'm getting the, this kid is squeaking me out too. But I think it's just because he's just, like, reciting this shit. He doesn't actually understand what he is saying. But she can't see that, I guess, because, he's, like, her age. Like, not to pull the ageism card, but, like, this one throws me, Her in general. A lot of her videos are like this, where I'm like, how old are you? She has a lot of causations reversed, because of her own biases. It's okay. We all did it, but so I recognize that. Because I was 24 once, too. I actually overestimated Brett's age. She is 22. We're both October babies. She just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Brett. I really do hate to pull the age card, but she was actually born a month and a day after September 11th. October 12th, 2001. I just thought that was kind of amazing.
If we want to talk about rape and sexual assault, which is a very real thing, talk about that. It's inconvenient just to talk about that because then you're losing the societal and cultural things against women, whatever. And then if you're going to talk about rape and sexual assault, you also need to include men who are raped and sexually assaulted. You also need to include violence against men, but that is also inconvenient to them.
But I thought including everything was what they were all about. So how is that inconvenient for them, honey? You're contradicting yourself, I think.
Talking about just things holding women back in the workplace, I'll say it again, it is because of women's own choices. Statistically, women choose and gravitate towards lower paying jobs.
No, statistically, women-dominated fields are lower paid.
Versus men. They're making that choice. They have every right to go be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, but many women choose not to.
Many of them do. Have you ever heard of a sausage fest? Well, you work at the Daily Wire, so there we go. You ever heard of a boys' club? You ever heard of locker room talk? Yeah. You ever heard of a toxic work environment?
If they choose to have children, then maybe they choose a job that is more flexible, that, is part-time, that allows them to be home. That would be paid less because they are not working as much because they are staying in the home. That is a choice. You can choose not to have kids. It's not my problem. And if you're in the workplace and you feel like you're getting paid less, statistically, women are not as good at negotiating as men are. That means we need to be bolder. We need to lead with our heads. Like, that's something that we can change, and you can take steps to mitigate that. That's not society against you.
I said we should behave like men. You're missing the part that when a woman is bold and tries to lead, people see her as a bitch. You're a girl with a microphone and a big mouth. You trying to tell me you've never encountered this? Now I just think you're being disingenuous.
I don't expect to walk into a room and have a bunch of guys be like, oh, you're a woman here. We have a really, really good deal for you. You don't have to negotiate at all. We just pretended like a man negotiated. Like, that's so condescending and rude.
Is she telling on herself? Have we found ours for the week? Like, how else did someone like this, someone so young and inexperienced, because I've never heard of this girl, where the hell did she come from and get this setup? With 2 cameras? This editing is nuts. This background is nuts. Is she supposed to look like she's in her fucking bedroom?
All the systemic stuff that you talk about are due to women's choices.
And why might women be making those choices? Do you suppose there are any systemic pressures that affect all of these people in similar ways?
Water.
And we also see that people from like the LGBTQ community and stuff like that also face this violence very frequently. I've faced this violence.
That's not a feminist issue. You've lumped it in. Now you're talking about gay people.
Agreed. The gay rights movement and the women's rights movement are 2 separate things. Remembering that would be a good idea. That's what, twice now that she's just been straight up right? But, the more right she is, the more dangerous she might be, in my opinion.
What kind of violence, if I may ask?
For example, slurs levied against me, shouting, people telling me to get out of it. When I lived in Australia.
Words are not violence.
Words are not violence. Gosh, it took me a long time to figure out what she was saying because her mouth is full of that giant cup. Words aren't violence, but we're not going to actually, discuss anything that anyone is saying here. We're just here to take pot shots at their language in Amsterdam. Which, I don't know, to me, if somebody isn't making a whole lot of sense in Amsterdam, especially, at a festival of some kind, there's a whole different, really obvious reason to me why that might be.
Against any violence, I think we should respect any people that dress any way they want or whatever.
You can be against that violence, but saying that is just sort of almost a non-statement without actually looking at the real material underlying factors for that violence and the system which perpetuates and shapes that violence.
So it's just stupid words.
This kid's talking like a textbook, and that is really annoying.
We teach people not to steal and be kind, but there's still dickheads out there in the world and stealing.
Yeah,
so there's a part on your own responsibility.
But why are they stealing?
Sorry?
I'm assuming you're talking about petty theft, right? People stealing a phone, people stealing a
so there's
banks
whore.
or any kind of violence.
There's real underlying pressures and whatever.
But understanding the underlying systemic pressures that maybe influence people's decisions can be useful. The problem here is that both of these men are right. There are systemic pressures that affect your decision making, but then you do have to take some responsibility for your own decisions. As long as we cannot stop arguing over whether apples or oranges are better, we're never going to actually get any of the fruit harvested, you guys.
And just saying that doesn't excuse anything.
Someone who, for example, steals $20, right? Probably they need the $20. Probably it's because they're poor, or unemployed, or whatever, right? So that's the reason, right? There's an underlying factor. So then you look at
there's a
why
reason
are they
why they're
poor.
poor.
Yeah. Why
Maybe
are
they made
poor?
a few very bad decisions.
That's kind of putting an individual responsibility.
So he's literally just pointing out one type of petty theft where somebody's really hungry, their kid is hungry, they're going to steal $20 and do that. What about all the people that are just not good people? I saw this person has this thing and I want it, or I'm dealing with the consequences of my actions, like this man is saying, like somebody tells me that I need to steal something, I need to repay somebody for my drugs that I bought or some weird shit like that. You can rationalize anything. He's just
Yeah, people do tend to have reasons for the stuff that they do. Assholes.
trying to pick one little argument, and then he's going to turn around and he's going to say, but with homophobia and transphobia and all of this stuff, there's no reason. Nobody has any reason to do that. Again, maybe people who are saying that to you, maybe they're just not good people.
Yeah, some people have reasons for doing things I disagree with, but what about the people who don't?
You can legislate anything, but there will always be bad people.
Yeah, you're right. Fuck laws. People are gonna break them anyway. What a waste of time.
Right? Have individual responsibility, right? I mean, saying that we wouldn't have any responsibility would be kind of naive.
Okay, to be honest, I don't really think this is a very productive discussion.
Right. Because they're both right. That's talking at cross purposes. You know, neither of them is going to convince the other that they're wrong. Because they're not. Whoops. Can we move on now?
If you
It is
have
the
a
majority of-
heterosexual image as the main image of the
It
country,
is the majority. Exceptions don't make the rule.
yeah,
Face.
I understand you, but I've got a different way. I've got a different view on reality.
When a
A different view on reality is called a delusion? No. I don't take this kind of thing lightly. Because going around just calling people delusional is kind of fucking dangerous. This is a medical term occurring especially in mental conditions. Because the first part, a false belief or judgment about external reality held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. I think a lot of people have those. Occurring especially in mental conditions. See, quote, he began to experience hallucinations, delusions, anxiety, and agitation, along with dizziness and nausea. Like, we're not talking about somebody who has a different interpretation of the facts than you. That's not a delusion. That's not what that means.
No, I'm not here to emphasize your ideas about reality. If you want me to emphasize those ideas,
I'm not here to emphasize your ideas of reality. You are supposed to emphasize my ideas of reality, my delusions, because I am a woman, and you are a disgusting man who must die. That was my impression.
You're a gifted actress there, Brett. Again, I think this really illustrates that this woman probably doesn't speak English all that well. Because that exchange didn't make sense, did it?
Gender wage gap, but they're basically marketing themselves as being progressive.
I mean, you kind of fix the gender wage gap if everyone is just whatever, right?
Well, if
Somewhat.
Because there's no genders.
How
Funny how all of women's problems magically disappear when women do. I've been saying this for a while.
many different genders and sexualities are there?
I don't know. I really don't know.
What's the difference between a gender and a sexuality?
Sexuality is who you fall for and how you feel about other people, and gender is what you feel.
What you feel.
Yeah.
I feel good. I love that he included that. That's why it's so confusing when you have the LGB and then you added the T to the community. Like lesbians and gay people and bisexual people, we're talking about their sexualities there. And then suddenly we're lumping in people who are just changing their genders. Like these are two different categories, two different conversations. LGB without the T has literally been trending on Twitter because of this.
Oh, is that trending again? That's pretty cool. Like, so this is maybe 3 times now that she's just straight up right and then doesn't really do anything with it. But the more right she is, the more concerned I become.
What is a woman?
Ah, was hoping he would ask
What
you.
is a woman? I don't know.
Then what is a man?
Yeah, that production quality really is amazing, isn't it?
But if you can't even explain the difference between a man and a woman, why do we even have names for it anymore?
If you-
I believe there is a difference.
Traditionally, you have a man and a woman. A man has a penis and a woman has a vagina.
Exactly.
Right?
I love
Times are
these.
changing. You have people that have like a penis and also a vagina.
It's like a very small percentage.
How can you have both? I have not heard that before in all my time on the internet. Did she literally just say there's some people who have a penis and a vagina?
You have people that have like a penis and also a vagina.
Wow, you're so smart.
I don't want to know how that works.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't work. I am not an expert, but I have done a ton of research because, like I say, I've been at this for years. And I've literally read that doesn't happen. But I don't mean to stereotype anybody, but I'm gonna venture to say that this lady sounds stoned as all hell. Maybe it's a hot take, I don't know.
Specifically with transgender ideology, they throw around all of these things like who you are is just who you identify as. And I saw one video recently where a lady was saying like, actually, if you are transgender, you do biologically change because in your brain, you think you're different. And then your brain tells your body that, you know, you're a different gender now. And so you actually are biologically, you know, a different gender.
See, that's just not true. And I watch a lot of people saying a lot of crazy shit in videos too. That doesn't make them right.
And then when we actually get down to science, they completely waver on their principles and what they're saying. And they go, well, actually, with intersex people, that's a tiny percentage. You're basing an entire ideology off of a tiny percentage of people who are born intersex.
No, they are using them as a scapegoat, as a shield. They're using them as a confusion tactic. It's word salad. It's a non sequitur.
You're only doing that when you're actually pressed to the bottom of your argument.
I want to say this is 4 times she's just been straight up right, in my opinion. They always do want to bring up intersex people, like at the end of the argument, don't they? I have had this argument so many times where they're like, transgender people exist. Some people are born in the wrong body. Wait, some people are born in a body that's neither. What about them? I don't know. What about them? What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
That's like with the abortion argument where people try to use the 1% of women that use abortion in cases of rape and incest. The other 99% is a form of birth control.
Okay, but how many of that percentage already have children? Who are you concerned about? Why are they doing this? Not that it's any of your business.
So if we can agree that 99% of birth control abortions is immoral and is wrong, is inhumane, is murder, then we can have a conversation about the 1%. That would be realistic. But they don't want to have that. They will never admit that it's wrong.
I don't think that is realistic, and I don't think that is wrong. I just don't agree with you. It's not that I'm not going to admit it. I just don't see all women everywhere as potential walking incubators.
Same thing here. They will never actually get to the point of talking about intersex people. We could never have a conversation about that one category because then they're going to lump in literally everything else, all of these weird identities. And if you just think that you're a different gender, then you become one. It does not work that way.
Life is already difficult and complicated enough.
If you don't want it to notice it, just don't notice it. If you don't want to be here,
But if you're gonna
Don't notice it. It's literally everywhere. How could you not notice it when you're screaming in my face?
This is a march in Amsterdam. You know, it has become kind of all over the place and impossible to ignore. How about let's talk about the fact that this is supposed to be a Women's Day march, Brett?
You're yelling at me about transgender things literally every single day. You can't just turn a blind eye unless you're literally living in the woods, which I would love to do, and turn off all social media and stuff. But then I would just be ignorant and not having a sense of what is actually going on in the world, which I think you need to know in order to be a concerned citizen and a participant in society. There's no way to just ignore it.
That's very true. If you want to be a participant in society, you have to participate in society. Good call.
send your kids to school and you're gonna end up with some weird ass information and they're gonna come home and talk about all this sexual shit while they're 5 years old. There's no reason for them to have any of that information.
No, because it's not talked about in school.
Yes, it is.
Where?
People that are boys, there's people that are girls. There are people whose gender might be a little bit of both, or
In
might
schools
even be
and on
neither.
Netflix,
Lessons
educational
include
materials.
books about transgender children. Another blaring example, drag queen story time.
Yeah, random lady in Amsterdam, why aren't you up on the latest developments in American politics? God damn it, somebody brought it up.
becoming kind of corporate, isn't it?
In some ways, yes.
In a lot of ways. You cannot claim that you are progressive and edgy and the revolution if Netflix and Apple and every huge big tech platform is on your side, if Big Pharma is funding you. You're not the resistance. They are using you. They're profiting off of you.
Whoops. I think this might be 5 times that she's been right. Not that it matters. Because it doesn't change a damn thing. Other than make all this stuff that much harder for me to say. Because, you know, I keep hearing this thing about right-wing shills. Philosophy Tube? Would you please?
At the risk of attracting the wrong kind of internet audience, I gotta say, Karl Marx was not 100% right about everything. Hello? You want to donate how much to my Patreon?
Well put as ever, dear. Thank you. But I have been saying this stuff for years, and it's so annoying when somebody comes along who, like, speaks with the authoritative air of, like somebody coached this girl, right?
A lot of things it would be better, yeah.
You
Who's gonna
literally, the
fix
world
your
will not
bike?
continue.
For your car. Because I don't see you doing it.
Well, yeah, maybe then I should walk soon.
Maybe you should. It's really weird, I gotta say.
Yeah, no shit. Literally, if she actually believed that all men should die off, the entire planet would die off. I mean, maybe that is kind of her motive, because she probably believes that the planet is dying and is going to burst into flames anyway. So there's no point in procreating because there's no hope for anything and the whole world is doomed to disaster. But that is such a, I mean, that is literally like a doomsday point of view. A world without men does not exist.
You know, that's another thing I'm always saying, that men have to be human. Otherwise the whole project is a waste of time, right?
There are 2 genders for a reason. We live in harmony. We balance each other out.
There are 2 sexes for a reason, and that's not what it is.
We are needed for different things. We have different strengths, literally physically, mentally, the way we operate, the way we look at the world. Our bodies are constructed in literally different ways depending on how we are supposed to function. You cannot have one without the other. And you cannot have feminism without an actual definition of what feminism is.
That's a really good point, Brett. I've actually been working really hard to develop, a feminist philosophy, a practical material one here on the channel. So, maybe subscribe below. Maybe hit the join button for $2.99 a month. You could support the channel and help me improve things around here a little bit.
And that's the point. Happy Women's History Month.
This has been our little visit with Brett Cooper to find out what feminists really think. Thank you so much for joining me here in the bedroom, because it's starting to get cold outside. And here in a little while at noon for the live stream and discussion. Next week we have the Halloween episode. I've been working on this one all month. It's going to be extra fun. Until then, I will see y'all later. Bye.